The 2026 World Cup will be the biggest tournament in history. 48 teams, 3 host nations, and hundreds of global superstars. But forget Brazil, France, and Argentina. The real stories are written by the underdogs. Today, we are counting down the top 10 dark horses that could actually shock the world and win it all in 2026. And trust me, number 1 on this list has the perfect blueprint to stun the giants. Now, before we start, let's establish the rationale. How do we define a dark horse? For this list, we are looking at teams strictly outside the top 10 of the FIFA rankings, who have elite young talent, tactical discipline, and a clear path through the knockouts. Each team is measured using our 4D blueprint formula, a 6-part system scoring roster depth, FIFA rank and trajectory, recent form, Confederation Dominance, major tournament pedigree, and the giant slayer factor. Let's see who has what it takes. Starting off at number 10 is Switzerland, posting a total of 38 points. First, their roster depth rates a 7, a solid spine with Xhaka, Akanji, and Kobo in goal, but thin on superstar depth off the bench. For rank and trajectory, they register a 7, consistently hovering inside the FIFA top 15 with stable but limited upward momentum. Recent form marks a 6, reflecting crucial but unspectacular qualification results against defensive low blocks. Confederation Dominance lands a 6, proving they remain a tough competitor in a loaded U.S.A zone. Their pedigree stands at a solid 7, backed by an incredibly consistent ability to navigate group stages. But finally, their giant slayer factor is a 5, relying on defensive structure rather than shock wins, giving them a high floor but low ceiling. Landing at number 9 is Austria, scoring 39 points. First, roster depth lands a 6. Sabitzer and Lehmer provide high-intensity work rates, but elite depth is limited across the wider squad. For rank and trajectory, they post a 6, hovering outside the top tier but showing steady tactical development. Recent form registers a strong 8, driven by high-scoring Nations League campaigns and strict tactical coordination. Confederation Dominance claims a 6, fighting tough in a crowded UEFA zone. Their pedigree rates a 5, carrying very little deep knockout experience in global tournaments. But finally, their giant slayer factor scores a strong 8. Ralph Rangnick's heavy metal pressing system is a total nightmare for giants trying to build from the back. Coming in at number 8 is Turkey, securing a total score of 40 points. First, roster depth registers a 7. Technical brilliance shines in Arda Güler and Hakan Çalhanoğlu, but overall squad depth remains uneven. For rank and trajectory, they post a 6, reflecting their struggles to break into the global top 20. Recent form marks a 7, showing bright, energetic play, offset by defensive lapses. Confederation Dominance claims a 7, establishing them as a highly dangerous rising force in Europe. Their pedigree rates a 6, carrying flashes of historic brilliance but overall inconsistency in major tournaments. But finally, their giant slayer factor lands a 7. Their technical playmakers possess the pure individual magic required to stun any top-tier heavyweight. Stepping up to number 7 is Norway, posting 41 points. First, roster depth lands a 7. 2 world-class stars in Haaland and Odegaard, but the bench drop-off is massive. For rank and trajectory, they register a 6, reflecting their historical struggles to qualify despite their raw talent. Recent form marks a solid 7, driven by high-scoring Nations League performances. Confederation Dominance claims a 6 in a crowded U.S.A zone. Their pedigree rates a 5, carrying no major tournament knockout experience since 2000. But finally, their giant slayer factor is a perfect 10. With Odegaard feeding Haaland, Norway possesses the ultimate tactical blueprint to stun any powerhouse. Breaking into the top tier at number 6 is the U.S.A, securing a total score of 42 points. First, roster depth posts a strong 8. The squad boasts genuine Champions League experience with Pulisic, McKennie and Reina. For rank and trajectory, they register a 7, maintaining a stable top 15 baseline. Recent form marks a 6, reflecting their recent struggles and defensive transitions under a new setup. Confederation Dominance claims an 8, cementing them as a dominant force in CONCACAF. Their pedigree rates a 6, consistently reaching the round of 16 but lacking signature quarter-final runs. But finally, their giant slayer factor lands a 7. Mauricio Pochettino's tactical structure gives them the defensive discipline to compete with elite teams. Standing strong at number 5 is Ecuador, registering a total score of 43 points. First, roster depth lands a 7, anchored by Caicedo, Estupinan, and Hincapié. They have a world-class defensive spine, but limited clinical depth up front. For rank and trajectory, they post a 6, hovering as a highly respected CONMEBOL gatekeeper. Recent form marks an 8, highlighted by an incredibly stingy, low-scoring qualification run. Confederation Dominance claims a 7, fighting neck and neck in South America's loaded zone. Their pedigree rates a 5, historically struggling to convert defensive masterclasses into deep knockout runs. But finally, their giant slayer factor is a perfect 10. Their physically imposing mid-block and elite transitional speed are designed to completely paralyze high possession giants. Charging into number 4 is Senegal, scoring 45 points. First, roster depth lands a strong 8, featuring legendary figures like Min and Koulibaly. Alongside Nicolas Jackson, they boast an elite mix of experience and speed. For rank and trajectory, they register a 7, maintaining a dominant African baseline. Recent form marks a 7, showing stable defensive wins but lacking recent explosive statements. Confederation Dominance claims an 8, standing as the standard bearers of CAF. Their pedigree rates a massive 8, backed by the 2025 AFCON title they won on the pitch, but were controversially stripped of, alongside a 2022 round of 16 appearance. But finally, their giant slayer factor lands a 7. Their raw physical power and recovery speed are elite, though off-pitch administrative chaos keeps their ultimate ceiling highly volatile. Claiming the number 3 spot is Colombia, securing a total score of 47 points. First, roster depth posts a strong 8, spearheaded by Luis Diaz, John Duran, and James Rodriguez. They possess immense attacking quality. For rank and trajectory, they register an 8, climbing the FIFA rankings rapidly after statement results. Recent form marks a brilliant 9, driven by a historic unbeaten run under Nestor Lorenzo. Confederation Dominance claims an 8, proving they can go toe-to-toe with Brazil and Argentina. Their pedigree rates a 7, established as consistent Copa America final contenders. But finally, their giant slayer factor lands a 7, while their high-tempo vertical transitions are lethal. A recent 3-1 reality check loss against France exposed sudden defensive vulnerabilities under pressure. Just missing out on the top spot at number 2 is Uruguay, landing a massive 49 points. First, roster depth posts an elite 9, built around the world-class spine of Valverde, Núñez, and Araujo. They match up with any squad in the world. For rank and trajectory, they register a 7, showing consistent placement inside the global top 15. Recent form marks an 8, highlighting their tactical adaptations in tough South American qualifiers. Confederation Dominance claims a strong 8, carrying massive historical authority in CONMEBOL. Their pedigree rates an 8, famous for their historic deep runs. But finally, their giant slayer factor scores a near-flawless 9. Marcelo Bielsa's relentless high-intensity pressing system is mathematically engineered to completely overwhelm and dismantle elite build-up teams. Before we reveal our number 1 pick, let's look at our 4D blueprint honorable mentions. First up, Morocco, now technically a top 10 FIFA powerhouse, which excludes them from our main countdown. But as the reigning 2025 AFCON champions by sanction, their lethal defensive structure means they could easily repeat their historic 2022 semi-final run. Next is Ivory Coast, the 2023 AFCON champions who boast elite young talent but are held back by tactical inconsistency. And finally, co-host Canada, powered by Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David, whose explosive transition play is offset by a thin defensive roster. And now, the number one dark horse to win the 2026 World Cup, Japan, registering an incredible score of 51 points. First roster depth post an 8, featuring Kaoru Mitoma, Takefusa Kubo, and Wataru Endo. They have exceptional technical depth across every position. For rank and trajectory, they register a 7 dominant in Asia and closing in on the global elite. Recent form marks a perfect 10, powered by statement wins over England and Brazil. Confederation Dominance claims a 10, standing as the undisputed kings of Asian football. Their pedigree rates a 6, consistently navigating group stages but searching for a breakout quarter-final run. But finally, their giant slayer factor is a perfect 10. Having already defeated Germany and Spain, their rapid, high chemistry passing mesh is the ultimate tactical blueprint to stun the world and lift the trophy. Who's your dark horse for 2026? Japan's precision or Colombia's flair? Drop your predictions below.